Item number 13, consider and act upon the non-reappointment and removal of Ray Barron from the EDC board. Gentlemen, do I hear a motion?
Make a motion that Ray Burbank be removed for term limit only.
Motion by Kevin, second. Second by Riley, all in favor?
Aye.
Hey,
You got that in there? All right, move on to number 14, consider and act upon the removal of Greg Koch from the EDC board. Mr. Greg has walked out of a meeting. Has more than one occasion has said he's got better things to do than be at the EDC. And I'll leave it at that.
is this something that I get a chance to address as the president?
Apparently not, because I was the first one.
Is this something that you've had a chance to address yourself, being the president of the EDC?
Greg has not walked out of a meeting since the one incident that was referenced. We have had a coaching conversation on how to improve the effectiveness of his dialogue, not just be confrontational, but to present his ideas in a more constructive manner. Of course, he's a outspoken individual that has very unique perspectives at times, and he makes those very clear. I think he does add value to the EDC. He's a successful businessman and active in the community. He's shown up to meetings. I don't agree with everything he says, but I think at times he does provide a useful insight.
When was this conversation you had with him?
I'm sorry?
When was the conversation you had with him?
I'm not sure, Mayor. I don't have a detailed record of my conversations with all directors.
You said more than a week ago at least?
That was prior to the last meeting. I'm not sure what the timing, what you mean by the timing. Was there an issue at the last meeting?
I figure when you counsel somebody, you write it down and have a record of it. And
It's
then
not a
last
formal-
meeting, I mean, I figured if. you
I
had a
consult with all my directors and I don't keep detailed records
If you had a
of all those.
conversation with him about his demeanor or whatever, and I know before, he said, when I say before, maybe a couple months ago, he said he had better things to do than to be there, and he said it again this last Monday.
I believe, Mayor, you mentioned something very similar, that you've got a job to do and other things to do besides run this city. And I believe all of us are in that position. And so I think we say a lot of those things to try to move the
I've never
point
said
along
better
to
things
be
do.
effective.
Thank you very much.
And I don't
Never said
believe
that.
that, he's obviously shown up at the meetings and participated in the meetings.
I've never said that I got better things to do. Thank you
We
very
can
much.
record it tonight and see, but I believe you said
Thank you
something
very
similar to
much.
that.
Any other questions? John?
When he walked out on a meeting, that was during Jim Begley, not Micah's oversight.
So he did walk out of the meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
he did.
I'll make a motion that he be removed from the EDC board for, as a board member.
We have a motion by Kevin, and a second.
I'll second.
Second by Riley, all in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
You got that in there? Thank you. Number 15, just a reminder, actually it's more of just to let you know on the citywide cleanup for May 1st. I'd like to thank you for coming out here. We didn't have any problems. I don't think anybody's trying to do some illegal dumping out here. Everything went well. Just wanna thank that's all I have to say about that, but next time we'll have more of a notice, right? It was a short notice, this one.
Yes, sir, and the reason why they could not cook out this time is because they had not opened up the COVID
Ah.
part of the cooking part. That's the only reason why they couldn't come out and cook.
Okay.
And she said that that was being lifted in July.
So bring them back in the office.
Well, I had a citizen ask me today, could we consider doing one in the fall?
Fire chief, is this done twice a year or once a year only?
It's done twice a year, and I did talk to, Zach, and, like she said, that, because of COVID, they couldn't do it, but they said when they do it in the fall, they will bring their trailer out and do hot dogs and sodas and things like that. Sure.
Alright, twice a week, sounds good. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Alright, number 6 is just a reminder, budget workshop on May 13th at 4:30 at the community center hall, and anyone's welcome to come. Debbie, signed up for open forum?
No, sir, no signatures.
What is the date?
Thank you. Alright. Number 17, my report. I'm gonna go, that we should go with the sealed bids next time. I like that idea. Thank you for bringing that up. I just wanna thank everybody for your patience and being here and bearing with us. Number 18, city secretary report.
Wait, what's this,
Tree removal.
Oh, this one?
tree removal and car tow?
Where you at?
Going impound.
17.
What's that mayor's report? It's on your report, bro.
No, I don't have it on. Oh, that was my notes, somehow that, okay, well, I guess I'm there, oh, there it is.
Oh, the mayor.
Put my glasses on. Well, we had talked about a towing prior, last year, I guess it was, or something like that, towing and impounded vehicles. We thought about maybe putting them back here behind the PD. There's always cars with no insurance, it's just a lot of cars being impounded. I know we take them to Goodman's and he just turns around and files a salvage title or something like that, and it's just all there, but I'm not sure that we can do that or make it happen. It's just something that I was gonna look into. Chief knows more about it, but that, again, that's something we'll deal with next. I just wanna let you guys know that that's something that I'll be looking into, and once I get some information on that, then we can, follow up on it. As far as lawn bids, looking for someone to do the lawns cheaper, actually found someone. And he's from here as well, but I'll get that information to you guys next month. Okay, now we go to number 8.
What about the tree removal? That's one I'm
You talking about on the road? That's what I'm talking about.
There's 7 trees that need to come down.
Man,
I don't know why
There
they
he
put
is.
off
I
on
know
their
he is.
topic, but it's on ours.
Okay, well, the tree, okay, I'm putting on the mayor's report, the tree removal's not on here, we had some bids. What happened, we just didn't put it on there?
What?
The tree.
No, you just didn't put it on there.
Okay, sorry about that, we'll go with, we'll bring it up next month. We had a few bids, there were some trees that were in question, that's what delayed it. Walked out there and, I mean, I don't know trees, but they look pretty healthy to me, some of them, so we're in that limbo, so, fire chief, take it away.
Well, I was just gonna say, there's probably 100 trees, those were the 7 that are, if they do fall, they're gonna hit transformers or buildings or cars, Castleberry's area, Mr. Castleberry's area, that tree's a risk. The main thing there is cleaning up that stuff on both sides, it's gonna wash that culvert out, it's already starting. We did go last Monday and get that tree off the road, but it's still on that individual's property on Coffee Landing.
We went, but, sorry.
Okay, never mind.
So I didn't know if you saw that or not, we did go Monday and trim that back a little bit, so cars could
It
pass
wasn't your
there.
tree, right?
Sir?
It wasn't our tree, right, city's tree?
No, it's not the city's tree, but till that, now, that would probably be like between y'all and the police chief combined ticket said resident to remove his hazard,
Alright,
but,
we can move on with the ones that are really dead by your house. We'll probably move on with those, but we didn't get somebody else to come out here and look at those other ones, cause the one that I've seen that looks pretty healthy, there's 2 more right next to it, they could fall over and do the same damage as that one.
yes, sir, we just took the top 7, 6 to 6.
Alright,
Did you call that other guy? I gave you his number.
yeah, he never called back, well, he called me back, but he never came,
And I gave you 4 bids,
I believe so.
so I don't know.
Yes, you and I, we do our trip. Okay, thank you, chief. Yes, we'll put that on the next month's agenda, the tree review. Okay, number 2018,
Secretary.
number 18, city secretary report. everything, Ms. Nanette?
Yes, sir. The community center rental, we had two in April. Group N7 came out and, worked with me on training on the website input, so our new website is up. And I am in control of the content, instead of having somebody else do it for us. And that's not costing us but $30 a year. Sunlink cable on that front lobby TV, we had that installed. And the reason being is Mary and I are in the office a lot by ourselves. When there's bad weather, the only TV that we had was back there in the courtroom. Well, she and I can't hear it back there.
Gentlemen, the cable's already there, they just ran the line there.
Yeah, it, yeah, it's,
Closer to their office.
right,
I
so,
have a question.
yes, sir.
Who you gonna listen to for bad weather?
Whoever's on that,
Dallas?
do what?
Dallas? That's who
No,
you're
the
gonna get.
that weather center, it does us all the time.
Sure does. Love
Yeah,
it.
the weather
But
center does us. Cause I'm gonna tell you, if me and Mary need to get in the block room, we're going to the block room.
He's just making it.
We had talked about, the mayor just talked about, the towing part. I had called several chain link fencing companies and we have gotten some bids for those, but I don't know now that we wanna proceed with that. Helped two of the EDC members with their email setups on their phones as well as their computers at home. Budget department breakaways, I've been working on that, as far as like the fire department and the police department, trying to get ready for the budget workshop. Organized a citywide cleanup with Republic. I did 14 notaries in April, and I helped Chief JP with some, several office items office work that he needed done, so I helped him out on that.
Thank you. Any questions, John?
Just a quick question on the bank registry here. There was two things here, one, both in 4/30/2021. What is the Frank Serrato police income? What is that for?
Where are you at? All back to the front?
On the bank statement of everything.
Right, the one that was approved?
That
Just
was-
for this month, this last month, I mean, isn't it?
Okay, that's where, Mayor Serrato bought the, PD truck.
We had it for sale? That went up for sale?
Sure did.
How was that announced?
Through the chief.
The chief announced it for sale.
Yes, sir.
Was it out for bid or auction or anything, or just,
It's out of bid.
pardon?
Out of a bid.
Out of a bid? You
Yeah.
put it out
If you
for
wanna
bid
discuss
process?
this, we're gonna have to come back later, cause we passed that one a while ago.
Well, what's the Republic Services in here also? What's the other one, the franchise fee?
They pay us franchise fees.
Oh, for the collection of the city.
Yes, sir.
Let's move on.
Okay,
And that was deposited into the general fund.
okay. That's why I wanted to know what it is.
On the number 19, the EDC report.
So we met, got our business taken care of, we approved minutes from the prior meetings. We do have a budget that we got approved, I believe a copy has been provided to you all. That's one of the biggest items. Of course, we had our normal treasury, income for April was 9,151, expenses 779, net income 8,372. So we had a 44% increase, in our cash balance, I believe, I guess, from the prior month. Is that right?
Micah, can I say something just on the income? We have a new, hot tax contributor, which is Henderson Pelican Point
Henderson Pelican Resort Property.
Resort Property.
Suppos- Supposedly it's in Lollipop.
It's in Lollipop Landing, so they are in our ETJ.
Did y'all find them, or did they reach out to y'all?
They submitted their report with their hot tax payment.
That's the gentleman that I talked to 3 times and asked Beverly and Atterbury to call, because he's called and asked about that. And I told him he needed to contact the EDC. So yes, ma'am.
He
got very active committees. They presented status updates. No significant motions based on those committees' recommendations were made. An item that was presented in new business from the mayor was, of course, the community center's request for a budget, which, of course, as you're aware, was approved. We are working, we basically created a new committee to focus on signs. Signs including welcome signs for the city, including also discussion about the electronic billboard, how to optimize that for the businesses that would like to participate with that. That was it. Any questions?
On the second to the last page, y'all have already worked on the budget, is that what that is? What is,
Go ahead, go ahead.
on the infrastructure improvements of the signage, what was that? Or is that
Sorry, what was that?
The infrastructure improvements on the signage? Is that just the signs that we're talking about there?
I'm gonna have to go to what you're referring to, so bear with me. I don't have the same packet as you do.
It's the budget. It's the budget that we proposed.
And you're on page 1 of the budget?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The signage, is that the signs?
Under,
Welcoming signs at the beginning and
Yes,
the end
it's-
of Coffee City, is that what it's referring to?
It's up under available fund balances.
Right. What we were talking about in the EDC was signage for Coffee City on each side when you're entering and leaving, or entering and leaving. We wanted to allocate funds for sign projects.
Is it on
okay, so on page
155
2 towards the bottom, yeah, infrastructure improvement signage, the 20,000 is envisioned for both 2 welcome signs. Those would be new signs at both entries to Coffee City. The thought with the budget was to build a substantial masonry type of structure with metal lettering, so they'd be semi-permanent. So that was where the budget number kind of came up. We have no bids, no me and Ray met today and discussed possible locations to follow up with TxDOT with today. But that's as far as we've gotten. But yes, that infrastructure improvement signage, that line item is strictly for the new signs, the new welcome signs to Coffee City.
And are these welcome signs going on 155 or 3506 or what?
Of course, that's open to the committee, but the envisionment right now is just on Highway 151, 155 on both sides of the bridge when you come into Coffee City. Probably the most likely locations would be on the right-hand side in the TxDOT right-of-way if they would allow us. Would seem like the most inviting, opportune location for them. But we're early on in evaluating that, but that's kind of what our thoughts were with that.
Okay, y'all planning on considering maybe people that's coming from the west side or the northwest side on 3506 coming into Coffee City? And
Not as
having
part
one
of the
there?
budget conversation, but I think that is something as we move further in committee that could be considered, but not at this time.
Okay.
So that's a great idea.
Yeah.
center improvements, any plans, or is there something else that we're missing?
No, sir, we had put in the city community center improvements, based on the city council's mention that they had some projects for to entertain. So really, kind of the 4,700 is, depending on when y'all, I guess if y'all approve that as a special item, it comes out of our budget now, or it can come out of this approved budget whenever you get that project ready to go. But that was in anticipation of that project being included in that, and possibly other items that the community center might need. Again, a lot of the budget items here, we don't have very specific projects identified. It's more or less, is there a tolerance to even think about spending money, and then hash out what detailed plan would be possibly used for that money. In no way are we guaranteeing to spend this money at all. It's just, if we don't have a budget, then we're not gonna waste our time even talking about it more if there's no willing to put any kind of money to it. So that's kind of where a lot of these line items came up. They're not even guaranteed to happen this year if we can't get enough traction or it just doesn't make sense.
Are y'all still gonna look for a secretary?
We have a secretary at this point in time, and we are going to be talking about that next week as to possibly appointing a different secretary. But at this point in time, we do have a secretary.
Would that be a paid secretary, or is it gonna be one of the directors that's gonna?
Under the current proposed bylaws, the directors has to be the secretary, and directors cannot receive compensation. So if we are following those, which we're trying to do, we currently have a director serving as a secretary, and that is not a paid position at this point. Now, we have budgeted, I believe, some money here for administrative support of the secretary position. So that is why there is still a secretary item, because it is pretty labor intensive, or can be. And so we do foresee possibly having the need for some administrative assistance. And so that is why there is still a budget item for it.
So there's a lot of members on here, is it possible that we could meet, you and Jordan, or me and Jordan, and kind of go over this just to?
I would encourage the mayor to make his comments known here, and the rest of the city council, and I would encourage, if there is a discussion, that we involve as much of the city as possible and air out what issues they are. We conducted a detailed discussion on this budget over 2 public meetings, but we are free to have additional discussions as necessary.
I make a motion we table, so we can study this budget. Pretty big numbers.
A motion, Mr. Riley, for table? I hear a second?
Second.
I don't think it was even an agenda item, but
Why don't we table?
Well,
So we can study the budget.
Right.
That's the
it was
only-
more for inclusion in y'all's conversation this week.
okay.
And I believe that may be the proper venue. I'll be here. We can talk then.
Since he's giving us a report, since he's gonna bring this, okay. So there's nothing to table,
No, there's no.
you'll bring this back up again, right?
It's up to the city if they'd like it to. I mean, you set the agenda, but I'd be happy to be at the budget meeting this Thursday, and we can talk about any changes to it at that time.
It was our desire, the EDC board, to present y'all with a budget that we've approved prior to y'all approving your budget, so it would be all inclusive for the city.
Yeah, we're here, what? Thursday? Knock it all out one time? Thank you, Mr. Mike. All right. Fourth year? I don't have when. Which one? Court?
Municipal court.
This is court report?
All of the council received the statistics, so I'm not going to read you the statistics.
How we doing?
We're getting back to business as usual. I think that, we'll probably reach, pre-COVID levels of business, probably by the third quarter of this year. We have a prosecutor, as you all know. We've had hearings, we've got cases, people requesting trials. And police department, as you probably hear, has been active in the streets, so there'll be plenty of business for me to take care of, I guess. But mainly, I'm here just to answer any questions you might have.
Gentlemen, anybody have a question for the judge? I'm good.
Okay, thank you. If you guys ever have any questions, let me know. The sheriff's here. Is he here for the meeting?
No, no, they're doing a traffic stop.
Number 21, the police report.
Good evening, y'all. I'll make this quick.
He's got work to do.
Yeah, I got a lot of work to do. Been here a month, been a pretty interesting month. Real quick, we had 94 calls for service. That means we got called 94 times. We're not handling business. We had 4 felony arrests, 2 by the patrol units, 2 by me. I'm a working chief. That's what I do. I'm here on the weekends. People see me on there and they say, whoa, we've never seen the chief out here working weekends. I lead by example. We have 117 traffic stops, which resulted in 68 citations, 51 warnings. We currently have 22 reserves, got 8 more in the pipeline that are working cops like me and know what they're doing. In order to accommodate my officers, I need to have them access to the CopSync. I don't know why or how, but before, everyone shared the same username and password. That's a no-no. We almost got shut down by CGIS because they found out we were sharing passwords. So I'm requesting my next budget that you guys allocate for some access to CopSync so they can run their own TCIC, NCIC returns. We're mending the relationship with the sheriff's department. As you see, they're out here working side by side with us. That was not here before. It's kind of embarrassing when I go in front on the scene and they walk by me and snicker. We put a stop to that real quick. We're mending our relationships with the sheriff's department, Smith County and Henderson. We need handheld radios. Those officers out there do not have handheld radios. I went to Harris County, called in a few favors. We have 4 handheld radios for now. And they were for free. I don't know who was doing the repairs, but they weren't repairing our radios right. And as much money as I've seen on those invoices, we could have bought brand new ones. Okay? Second, we have 2 open records requests. We're about to be sanctioned. We knocked those out in 2 days. We're no longer gonna get fined $50,000 a piece. I go meet with DPS to see about them giving us 3 Tahoes from their old fleet. That's gonna be a freebie. Worst case scenario, we pay $5,000 to get our equipment put in them. Those Tahoes will last us at least a good 4 or 5 years until our 30-something officers that we plan to have out here start generating some stuff with TechStyle. We had 3 officers sworn in this week. Juan Acosta, who would be working nights. Edward Mata back there, and then today Albino Alvarado. He's not on here because he just got sworn in today. We had 1 suicide. A young man hung himself across the bridge. We had 2 fatalities. We had 1 dismemberment where a guy lost his legs. I think Chief went up to that one. And we're impounding a lot of cars. Hence the reason we need to have our own impound yard. Because that's $250 that we're giving someone else to take the car to their lot. So we plan to hit this speeding a lot because I think, how many accidents did we have last month, Chief? Several, more than usual.
We had several, we had 3 bad ones.
Yeah, and it's all because of speed. So we're impounding them, and a couple of them had no insurance. So we want to be able to tow for no insurance and no license. COVID is over, there's no reason for people not to have a license. Yes, sir.
I just had a thought when fire chief brought that up too. So we impound them, don't they belong to the city?
No.
And, cause I've heard that, back in, they're selling off, or, goes to the impound lot and then
It's a sold,
if
but
it's not at a lengthy time, doesn't it revert back to the city that the city can auction?
No, wherever the impound lot, whoever houses that car, if they don't come and take it out within 180 days, they get to sell it for their storage fees. So those storage fees is $25 a day.
Right.
So we get nothing. They get everything.
Right.
They not only get the $145 for the tow, but they also get all that other stuff. So it's a consideration.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's gonna cost to put a fence around here, but I mean, like I tell a lot of people, I'm a working chief. If I have to put up a fence myself, I grab some 4x4s, some metal, and let's get to work.
Who's
I mean,
towing them, Jim?
Goodman.
Out of Frank?
Yes, sir. And then there's a rotation, but we as officers get to say, hey, send us so-and-so because he's closest, and they get here quick, we load up and get us off the side of the road, because a lot of accidents happen when we sit on that side of the road a lot. So, if y'all can consider that, I'd appreciate it, and, pass it on to the fire chief. I think he's next, right?
Chief, one question for you.
Yes, sir.
I understand that we get a impound. Do you know, you're not telling me right now, but do you know what's all required, or do you have to look up?
You have to be licensed through the state.
Who, the city, or?
Yeah, the city has to obtain a license, then you have to have someone, accessible 24 hours, so if someone comes at 3 in the morning, they have to come open up and give them the car back. And that person has to be also certified and trained, because they also have access to the network. So you just can't have anybody, they have to be able to pass a background, because you're looking at sensitive information. Any questions?
Thank you, Chief. Number 22, fire department report.
You don't care.
One building fire, we had, 23 calls last month, 1 patrol burn, 12 medicals. 4 good attempts are canceled en route. Y'all can see the breakdowns on the back of them. Which it don't hurt my feelings being canceled. 2 public services where we unlocked the car. We did the fly-in Saturday. We assisted Berryville down there, got some FaceTime with people. Our past events, excuse me. April, we went to Northeast Texas Fireman Fire Marshal Association. That's, the spring meeting and certification class for our training. That was myself and Lisa Cavender. And, like you said, we had 3 bad wrecks. We had one that left the road, hit the trees about 10 foot up, burst into flames with the people in pinned in. And our guys and gals did a great job and got them out and took care of everything. And of course, the one in Frankston, all 3 of them, 2 80-year-olds died, and then the one that hit them finally passed away last week. And then, we just had a bad time with wrecks.
Chief, if I can add to that, I had a gentleman come up, the wreck down there in Frankston, he came up to the city hall and, I spoke to you about it. I know the elderly couple that got killed in the accident, their family wanted me to pass on to the city that Coffee City Fire Department done an excellent job. They were very appreciative how concerned and consoling they were, with their parents and the privacy that they gave their parents as far as extracting them from the vehicles and things like that. He could not commend Coffee City Fire Department on the personnel and how well they had been trained on how to handle a situation like that. And he wanted me to pass it on to the city.
It's good to hear.
To hit some other highlights, if y'all go through with the sign on both ends on 155, I think it would be nice, as Mr. Casper may have been alluding to, is maybe take a sign that we have coming out of Smith County now and move it to the, like, 315 yellow blinking light area. Y'all thought about that?
Not yet.
Y'all know the sign was there? Okay.
Well,
IDs were better, the ink didn't smudge this time. We issued the IDs. We're gonna start hauling the wrap in, I talked with the mayor briefly Saturday, I talked with the commissioner today. We're gonna start hauling that wrap in so we can put back here behind the building. And also on, Stevens Road, to get ready for that work down there at the T. COVID, inoculation, vaccination shots, 21, 22 May here, this building, all day long. The second shot will be 11, 12 April, here, this building.
April what?
June, my bad, thank you, 11, 12 June. That's really about it. I've got to spend this year's budget. We've been on hold since January. I mean, I've blown out a tire on my car, I'm fixing to blow out another one, fixing to park it. I went ahead and ordered the tires today, if we have to, we'll do it. But we need to, and those traffic vests, stuff like that, or coats, we need to get those, so, other than that.
Questions? No. Thank you, Fire Chief. Meeting, motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion by
11,
David,
12,
second.
It's the second one.
Chuck, all in favor?
They're both Fridays.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
She called and wrote me a letter too, saying, thank you very much. That guy come off this road here and hit her.
I saw it.
It's terrible.
I saw the call.
She's very, very lucky.
Oh, who? Thank you for, you were a lifesaver.